Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are, and welcome to Lockdown TV, the alternative program, which brings you the alternative news and views from our roving reporters who can bring you behind the real news and bring you the real fake news, which can be so fake it might actually be true. So without further ado, let's get down to business. But first, an update on the virus lockdown. We go to our medical expose, sometimes Dr. Slurry.
Thank you, Jimmy. One of our listeners phoned in to ask that if an apple a day keeps the doctor away, how many apples will it take to keep the virus away? Well, now, that's a very interesting question, but an easy one for a medical expert such as myself to answer, but not as easy as the media make it out to be. You see, there's been no serious research on this topic. Why, you might ask? Well, the answer is simple. It simply doesn't pay. And the question in question is preposterous or even ridiculous. Nobody with any titter of sense would even bother. Anyway, I was on holidays in Italy last year and I visited some of them apple orchards, and as far as I could tell, they were of no help whatsoever. In my humble opinion, based on 75 years of knowing a few things about a few things, and in actual fact, one of my fellow tourists on the bus couldn't stand the smell of them. It was so bad that even if he got a whiff of an apple on the bus, he had to stop and let him out to throw up on the side of the road in Italy. And he had to grab a breath of fresh air, which brings me to the conclusion that...
Can we wrap it up, Doctor?
I have to say, them apples were organic too. You can buy them in your local supermarket and try them out for yourself. Anyway, arrivederci bambinos. And thank you, Jimmy. I see your time in the BBC didn't go to waste. Were you making the tea there when Uncle Gabo was there? You're still a great tea maker, they tell me.
Thank you, Dr. Slurry. Keep taking the tablets. And now over to our political correspondent, Happy-Go-Lucky, for a look at the latest happenings in the world of high political intrigue.
What's up? The T-shirt decided to spend half a day in the hospital to relieve pressure on the system. He was real keen to have a go at surgery as he had missed out on it at doctoring college due to attending his first R8, which blew him away. But he wasn't allowed by the hospital authorities, much to his disappointment, and was only allowed to answer easy questions on the phone.
And rightly so, in my opinion. He's done enough damage already. And he'd probably be thinking it was Mary Vindaloo he was chopping up.
Right on.
I suppose this convinced him to stick to being a politician with T-shirt potential, so he could cut and trust at the other potential T-shirts, at which he became an expert at a very early age. But back to Happy.
Listen up. Later on, the phone lines got crossed at the hospital somewhat, and the T-shirt ended up on the Microsoft helpline advising users on how to upgrade their PCs. He received a lot of positive feedback for this, as users has felt that he has a lot of experience in the upgrading department, as he had upgraded his wages and expenses with great success over the past few years while nurses picketed in the rain for a few extra euro. But we can't hold that against him. After all, he is a politician, and a politician's got to do what a politician's got to do. And now back to you, Jimmy, in the studio.
And the possible relief the system got when he left the hospital. Now, over to Stormy Merriweather for more about the lockdown weather.
Yes, it is, Mary. And may I say bright, which brings back such happy memories. Oh, will we see Christmas at all this year? And moreover, will Santa have to wear a mask? Well, as you know, I can't go to the meteorological department where all the weather gizmos and forecasting gadgets are due to the lockdown, which in my honest opinion feels more like a lock-up. Instead, I have to rely on good old feminine intuition. So I had a good look out the west window this morning before breakfast, and it was looking not too bad. Then, after my porridge, I had another look, and it was holding. Not an anticyclone in sight. But as I ventured to the east window, I could hear the children screaming, not mine, I hasten to add, and those brats, teenagers, were next door screaming for ice cream. Now that's always, in my mercurial opinion, always a very good indication of a spot of rain. So I decided to stay in and not cut the grass. As you know, wet grass, it simply ruins the lawnmowers, which upsets the gardener, who can't come anyway because he is also in lock-up.
Behind bars in Portlaoise, actually.
Thank you for that, Jimmy. To get back to the east wind, as my mother used to say, it can bring all sorts of problems with it. Well, you only have to think about where it comes from. Across the water. That's all you need to know about the east wind, where it comes from.
It's James, actually, and now the weather for the deaf.
Actually, the weather for the deaf is exactly the same as the weather for everyone else. I don't see why they should get different weather than us. Oh, it looks okay now. I might go for a stroll later. Definitely won't need an umbrella.
And now, a special report from our fake news behind the news desk. It is just coming that pretending T-shirt Leo Glitter Socks has resigned. Has resigned himself, only allowed to answer the phone in the hospital. He hoped to do some real doctoring, but his experience in doctoring the economy was held against him, as reported by our special correspondent, who shall remain in quarantine until further notice. But enough real fake news. Well, who knows? It's time now to catch up on what's new in the world of camogie, as we hear rumours that changes are afoot. So over to our young expert and rising star, Roisin Og McCurley.
Yes, Jimmy. Since I last spoke to you, things in the world of camogie have seen some real cool and necessary changes. In the old days, camogie players would barrel into one another, swipe at their opponents, shin jabs and such. But the ref would blow that unwanted whistle and the game would come to an unwanted full stop, while they showed off their selection of coloured cards to the players and spectators, and very embarrassing it could be too, especially if it was a red one. It was as if us girls were weaklings and couldn't push and shove like the rest of them. We'll take it from one who knows. We can. We can push and shove with the best of them, and now we can do it legally. So to speak. Barrel into one another with shoulder tackles to beat the band, and not a whistle to be heard. But to be honest, I think it was the refs who had the rules changed because they were wearing out their little whistles and needed a new rule to stop them from getting out of breath. And what's more, them ref whistles don't come cheap.
Thank you, Roisin Og. I did play the men's version hurling many years ago, and I still have the scars. I can show anyone. Okay. Now, over to our Roadwatch team for the latest updates. Come in, Mandy Tulip Hedgerow.
Thank you, James. Mandy here from Roads Launching a Heron. That's Road Safety Ireland, by the way. Well, as you are aware from my previous reports, which you might be aware are up for a prestigious award this year, there is little traffic on the road these days. Although, in my opinion, anything less than a Beamer, it shouldn't be on the road at all. Anyway, I did venture out this morning on the N11 to take a trip to the local...
The locals, they're open.
Local supermarket, you ninny clod, to restock our cellar, as Jeffrey had mentioned during dinner last night. The Sauvignon Blanc was running low. We were having Piscays a la Turque with a mature Aigre Bacava, which, to the uninitiated, is bull blood in English. A famous Turkish red. Oh, and quite strong too. So there I was, on an N11, bombing along as Beamers are wont to, listening to a spot of Viv on the surround sound quadro, with the highway all to ourselves, when one of those core tractor people, that's traffic corps, by the way, for anyone who needs to know, They came alongside me in one of those hideous Hyundais with their little blue flashing light, and they motioned me over to the hard shoulder.
And did you give him the hard shoulder?
It was her, actually, and she had the audacity to ask me if I was over my limit. Kilometre limit? I told her, in no uncertain terms, I definitely was absolutely not. And I pointed her in the direction of my kilometre, which accurately showed that I was exactly 1.35 kilometres away from my house. Then she had the impudence to ask me how far was the supermarket from my house. What presumptuousness! I mean, what are they teaching them at Garda School these days? Well, I replied, why not follow me and find out? So I hit the accelerator and I left her standing in a cloud of dust. 0 to 60 in 8.5 seconds. Go Beamer! So, yes, the roads are clear enough, except for those, what can I say, underlings with the ghastly psychedelic blue and yellow stripes.
Thank you, Mandy. Perhaps when this is all over, we can sample some of your bull's blood, eh?
And did you get the Sauvignon Blanc?
Which supermarket did you say?
And now, over to our fashion correspondent to round off our programme. Come in, Cody Knox Cuticura.
One of my sources has confided in me that Meghan Markle's, due to giving up her royal income, silly girl in my opinion, has launched a new line of cosmetics. As if we needed more, which we do, of course. I mean, where would we be without them? Many thought she would return to acting, but there's no acting jobs due to the pandemic, with all the theatres being closed. But my sources rumoured that that's not the real reason. I mean, who's to say? She's decided to cash in on the beauty market. When in doubt, or near poverty, throw on some new makeup at the suspecting market. Yes, as my old science teacher used to say, throw enough mud? Actually, I'm trying one out as we speak. One of the new exciting luscious nail varnish is called Nail Lush Bomb, and might I say, I am super impressed with it. It gives my nails a kind of, inner glow. Well, that's what it says in the bottle. So I'm looking forward to wearing it to the club when it reopens to impress the girls. And the guys, of course. I mean, isn't that what it's all about? Oh God, when will they ever reopen? Anyway, there's this new eyeshadow called Tincture of Night, but it makes my eyes look cross-eyed. So I'm not sure about that one. Oh, I see. There's 2 sides to the bottle, one marked L and one marked R. Of course, how clever. Left and right. Maybe I got them mixed up.
Maybe it's glasses you need.
Don't be cheeky.
Well, folks, that almost wraps it up for today. We hope you've been able to unravel the fake from the real fake. Though if anyone is to be believed, you'd never know, would you? So before we say goodbye, a final roundup of the important points again. Happy.
Yo, bro, you can make really cool and colourful masks from rainbow socks, but remember, wash them first.
Stormy.
What is the point of having weather if one can't go anywhere? Oh, I mean, anywhere of any significance.
Heaven help us. Doctor.
I just googled that bull's blood, and they do have it in my local supermarket, that is. So I'm off to get some now.
Rushing Og McCurley.
Hurling was not invented by Cuchulainn. My guess is that it was the warrior Queen Mackerel way before he was even born.
Mandy.
Beamer drivers own the roads. After all, we are paying through the nose for them. The roads and the cars.
Cody.
The cosmetic business is worth $445 billion per year. Thank God I get mine as free sample.
So, that's a wrap, folks. Until the next time, good morning, good evening, good night from all us at Lockdown TV.